going to talk a bit about one of our favorite areas, Costilla County, Colorado, where there's land and land and land and more land, and so much of it close to the mountains. Which, what's cool about the area we're about to talk about that you mentioned earlier, the Sangre De Cristo Ranches, you are literally in the mountains in some cases, if not right
Mm.
against it. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Land Stories Live, a podcast dedicated to helping people just like you own land. And of course, we would love to tell your land story. Today, I have the honor of having Kristy back with me. Hey, Kristy.
Hi guys, how are you?
Doing awesome. Doing awesome. Last week, we had a special guest on, which was the first time we've actually had a client on. We've had people send us video testimonials, but Charlotte was on the last week's episode. So she mentioned how awesome you were. So you got big kudos. She said I need to give. She
I
said
had
I
to
need to give
watch.
you a
I'm
raise.
sure she liked me. I had to check out my own review. No, they were really sweet. I enjoyed working with them a lot.
Well, it's so cool just, thinking of people that come from so many different backgrounds. And in this case, it was, they're not like in their 30s, they're probably in their late 50s or 60s and looking to get a fresh start and get out of Montana. And it's just fun hearing people's stories and how they got to us. And I'm curious to just kind of gather your thoughts, on the different kinds of people we work with. And what that's like for you.
I would say we work with just about every kind of people, but oh gosh, I would say lately I would say it's a mix. So there's always like the older crowd that are buying it for their kids. I feel like I get a lot of those that they even say, like, when it's time to do the deed, I want to put it in my kid's name, or I want to put it in both of our names. I just want something to leave them. And it always gives me goosebumps because I'm like, oh, you're the best dad, or you're the best mom. Like, what a great gift to give somebody. So a lot of that for sure. And then I've also noticed there have been a lot of younger people, like in their late 20s, early 30s, that are kind of saying, oh, I want to invest in something. And I want, maybe they have no intention of building now at all. They'll probably go camp and hang out, go hunting or fishing there, but it's truly for a long-term thing. One of the guys we sold to, Jesse, that bought in where we're actually going to talk about in the Sangre, I never can pronounce it right, Sangre De Cristo Ranches. His intention is to buy it now, but not to build for another 10 years. He wants to get it paid off and then save up and then build something. So I think that's awesome because he'll have it ready for him. It'll just sit there and wait until he's ready.
Yes. Well, so many people, I think one of the most frequent questions I get is, do I have to build on it? Is there a time limit to build? And I kind of wonder where that comes from, because no, it's your land, right? You can wait forever, just like Jesse is. You can wait 10 or 15 years, or you don't have to build on it at all. But
Ever. Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about raw land is it's been raw land for a million years. So you sitting on it for 5 or 10 years and it's gonna hurt it. It's gonna just stay the same. But
yes.
I get that question a lot too. So there must be covenants in some different areas that make you build. I would imagine, because I get that question a lot. But we've never had a property that I can remember that had any kind of time limit at all, which
Maybe,
is
maybe,
nice.
maybe that's more an infill lot kind of a thing, where you buy something that has utilities and it was newly subdivided. We've never ran into that. I've never seen it. Most of the stuff we buy has been subdivided 20 or 30 or 40 years ago. So maybe we just don't have experience with that yet. I don't know. But
Yeah.
anyhow, today we're going to talk a bit about one of our favorite areas, Costilla County, Colorado, where there's land and land and land and more land, and so much of it close to the mountains, which, what's cool about the area we're about to talk about that you mentioned earlier, the Sangre de Cristo Ranches, you are literally in the mountains in some cases, if not right
Mm.
against it. So I know, Kristy, we have right now like 3 properties out there. So we're going to feature one, not just 2, but perhaps 3 properties, depending upon the time we have available. So Kristy, you take it away. I know you've done a lot of work in this area. I think you've written probably even a blog post or 2 or 3 about it. So you take it away. Tell us about Costilla County and the SDCRs.
So, well, exactly what you said. It's right by the mountains. So if you're looking for mountains, awesome place because you're going to get the views. It's right near Mount Blanca, which is it's over 14,000 feet. I think it's either the 3rd or the 5th highest. I think it's the 5th highest mountain in Colorado. So it's a big one. It's for sure big. So you've got any kind of mountain activities you want. If you're a mountain biker, hiker, all of that, you're covered. But then these properties are awesome because most of them have trees. Maybe not fully wooded, but some are. But they're sprinkled with trees, which is also nice. People love trees. I don't blame them. It just makes it amazing. So that's a huge one. So the area itself is about 50,000 acres. So it's huge.
Wow.
It's huge. And 5,000 acres is actually public land, like a green belt. Hiking, hunting, 7,000 elk that live in the area. So if you're a big game hunter, it'd be an awesome area because you don't have to go far at all and you're right there with the wildlife. If you like fishing, there's 2 reservoirs. There's Mountain Home Reservoir and Smith Reservoir, all about 5 to 10 miles away. So great fishing. It's really great for outdoor people. If you like to be fishing, hunting, hiking, biking, and then hiding in the trees, this is your place.
I love it. Let me just
Most
share.
of the lots
Go ahead.
are off grid. I know all the ones we have are off grid. I don't even know. It almost seems like the whole area is off grid. A lot of people will do solar because it's quite sunny there. But I was also doing a bit more research on utilities, and a lot of people will do propane appliances, fridge, washer, dryer, all that can be propane. So I thought that was pretty cool. So then you don't even need that much solar if you just want, a few lights or whatever. Satellite phones work out there, satellite internet, so you can get all of that. You can kind of feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, but still have everything. Water is a big question. I'm sure you get asked this all the time too. So water is a big one there. You can drill a well. They say the average is 100 to 400, or no, 150 to 400 feet deep, with saying the average is about 300 for budgeting purposes. I would say 300 feet deep, but there's companies that do water delivery. So when I talk to people, I always make sure to mention that, because if you're going to be out there, and I would think most people that kind of do that off-grid lifestyle, the whole point is to live the simple life. You're not going to take 45-minute showers and all of that. So the water delivery can be awesome. I have a screen pulled up here, so I'll just read it quickly. It's $6.50 a mile to travel out to your property, but that it's only $100 per 1,000 gallons of water. So if you're only going to be there, if it's going to be a weekend place or something, in my opinion, that's the way to go. Get a cistern and just get it pumped into your house. And then you don't have to worry about drilling a well until maybe you want to live there full time later in life. But so there's a lot of options, which is really cool.
Wow, I didn't know it was that cheap. That's interesting. I guess it depends on where you live, and here there's enough water. It's not crazy expensive.
I'm gonna scroll to this one spot just while you're pulling that up, because I don't know if you knew this, because I just learned this. Oh, hold on, this went big all of a sudden. Let me put this down. Okay, there's actually a resource for free water too in the area, but it's closer to Alamosa, which is about 30 minutes away. I'll read this, but we can obviously put it in the footnotes too. So it's mile marker 241 and 242 on Highway 160. You can collect free water. So if you have a tank in your truck, a water tank, just go fill it up, and then you have your water for the weekend or the week or however long you're going to stay there. So lots of water options.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah,
I
know that. I had never heard that before, so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
These markers here are different properties I've personally visited. myself. So up here is Forbes Park, where we have a couple of properties listed for sale. Over here is the San Luis Valley Ranches. This whole area is the San Luis Valley Ranches. Closer over here is the Rio Grande Ranches. I mean, you can just see how many properties, and this is just a small fraction. I visited over here is Wild Horse Mesa, and you can actually see right here, here's the Sangre De Cristo Ranches. So basically, if you kind of think of draw off where the green stuff is, it kind of starts about up here on this side, south of 160. There's Mount Blanca you were talking about. So some of these lots are really close to Mount Blanca, even closer than a lot of the San Luis Valley Ranches ones down here. And then it just kind of extends down. This whole huge area is all SDCR. And so some of it, you're kind of up in the mountains. You can see all these streets here I just zoomed in on. So this is SDCR, where you see all these roads just snaking their way through. So some are closer to the highway, some are further away from the highway. So depending on what someone's looking for, we can try and see if we can find a property that might fit for you. Some are much more heavily treed than others, which you'll show us here shortly. Some are more deserty scrub and have more the look of the San Luis Valley Ranches ones. Some have a mixture of all of the above. So it's quite the difference in topography, and it's such a huge area. There's a lot to choose from. So
now, Dave, when you were there, did you pop into Fort Garland? Did you go to the town?
I did. So right in Fort Garland, I've actually stayed at this lodge. I'm sorry, the Mountain View Motor Inn here, which really does have gorgeous mountain views. I ate at this pizzeria place, got my gas at the ConocoPhillips over here. There's a barbecue joint right here, which actually the folks that run Forbes Park, her husband, the manager, the husband owns this barbecue place.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, because it said, there's a gas station, post office. I think it said 4 restaurants. So I figured you might have popped in to see what it was like. So I'm assuming it's a super cute town. I can only imagine.
It is. Well, it's nice, get some civilization, but it's not, so busy that you can see that there's some houses around here. So anyone that wants to live closer to town, I mean, there's places you can buy. And it didn't really strike me at all as like a run down place. You go to some towns are kind of run down. To me, Fort Garland felt like a better town than on the opposite side in Walsenburg and Huerfano County. That was a little more run down to me than Fort Garland was. So, and you got Blanca over here too. I'd say I like Fort Garland a little bit better than Blanca. And then just down the way, you got San Luis. So, do you want to pull up the properties, Kristy? I have them pulled up too, and you can kind of walk us through.
I can. Let me see if I can share my screen properly here.
Here, let me stop sharing on my end. You go right ahead.
Okay. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
We'll see. Make the host. There you go.
Okay.
You're running the show.
All righty. You tell me when you can see it.
I can see it. We're good.
Cool. So let's see which one I pulled up first. Okay, 5.14 acres. Go to see there you see the mountain views. Pretty awesome. That one. So we have a 5.14. We have let me just scroll through all 3 of them. 5.22 and then just 5 even. Okay, cool. So I wanted to pull up the first one, the one we talked about on the hill. It's actually on the mountain. Sorry, my computer's being so slow. I'm trying to pull up these pictures. This one. So we were saying, look how it's on top. But can you imagine if you right here leveled it off and build your cabin there? The views must be absolutely spectacular from there. You can see there's nothing to see except the wild. and
Mhm.
maybe the elk and the deer and all the other things that are there. So this one I absolutely loved. I thought it was so cool because it's the whole thing isn't on the side. You know, we've gotten some. I know in Forbes Park it can be quite common where the whole thing is just a slope down, so you'd have to build almost into the mountain. I don't know. I just envision this one, somebody building something on top of the winding driveway up to it, and they get to the top and get to see the whole world. So I think this one's my favorite if I had to pick, just because I think it's amazing. And trees, of course, everywhere.
Well, as you mentioned, there's this is game unit 83, I think is the name of the game unit. And so for
That's correct.
hunters, like you mentioned earlier, there's the BLM federal government land not that far away. So if you love to hunt, what a great place to have a home base with which to go to. And heck, you probably will get deer and elk walking through your yard.
And according to Joe Rogan, elk is the best meat ever. I don't know. Do you ever watch the Joe Rogan podcast?
No,
It's
I
a joke.
don't.
Literally everyone, he's like, elk is the best meat. And he gives all the reasons why it's the best. I'm a vegetarian, so I wouldn't know. But for all of the meat eaters out there, apparently elk is quite good for you. And so you can go get a compound bow and go hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this one's beautiful. So now let me flip to the next one, which also is beautiful. But this one, see, it's flatter, and it has a couple trees though. You can see the roads. Let me see if this will pull up. Sometimes mine don't pull up well. You can see the roads are, oh, it did, good. So they're pretty well maintained. What I was reading is also they're pretty maintained throughout the winter too. Of course, after a big storm, it might take them a while to get there, but they are accessible year round. But again, look at that view. You just see
Mm-hmm.
mountain on top of mountain on top of mountain. I think it's awesome. They're just beautiful properties. Um, Third one, this is the 5.14 acres. Also some trees. Oh, look, there's a picture of the herd of elk too, one of the small elk herds. I made sure to put that on the website. I got a picture of that. Imagine that running through your property. I think even if you're not a hunter, like as I'm not, but I would absolutely love to see them running through. It would be fantastic. Yeah, those are the three we have. I think they're all awesome, but the one on the hill would be my pick if I had to pick, because I could be the queen of the ranches.
Top of the hill. No, I think what's great about this whole area. I actually, as I was this last time, so I went out. I'm going out about once a year out to Costilla County, and Forbes Park is right next to SDCR, and so I had my GPS on, just to make sure, because it was nighttime, and was going through, and I saw some deer in the middle of the night, and I ended up wandering through SDCR, and I had to go to the bathroom so bad, and I was holding it, just waiting to get back. I didn't want to get jacked up by a cougar and stop the car and pee on the side of the road or something. So
We would not, that would not be good news. I don't want to hear that.
no. And man, I mean, just driving through there, I was actually really impressed. This was in November, with how well the road was maintained. It just went on and on and on and on. So if you want to get lost and just enjoy nature, there's no better place than this to do it. I experienced it myself. I literally got lost, turned back around, went the way I came. Turned out I went one exit too early before
Okay.
the exit I was supposed to take. So
But you made it out safe and sound.
I made
Yeah,
it.
there's another thing about this area is 90% of these lots are unoccupied. So you're right. You feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you might only own 5 acres, but just pretend you own 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you can literally look as far as you can see and pretend it's all yours. It's a great area to just get lost, like you said.
It is. And a lot of people are concerned about like HOAs and stuff like that, which certain ones aren't good for them. I think what's interesting about this area, there's like an optional HOA. So you don't have to join it. There's no requirement to. But if you want to be part of it and be more part of the community, certainly there is that HOA that is available, which they help out with like Meals on Wheels and crime stuff and um, just social get-togethers and stuff. So for someone that wants to get plugged in the community, there's the option, but it's not forced like other areas are.
And I think that's what gives you the voting rights, if I'm not mistaken, too. If you join that, then you get to vote on different, if they pass some covenants or whatever, you'd be part of that. Did you see anywhere, because this is what I did not see, how much is that POA if you want to be a member?
I think it's
a fee for it.
I didn't see a fee, but I think it's a couple $100 a year.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not much. I just wasn't sure if I missed it because I did look and I didn't see, but I figured it was probably anywhere from $50 to $100.
Yep. So somewhere around there, because it's not like they're maintaining the roads, because the county maintains the roads in this case. So there's very little that the HOA really does outside of just being a community, asset, which as far as I'm concerned, that's what I think a lot of HOAs should be. If someone wants to join and be part of the community and be around like-minded people, great, but if you don't.
Yeah, what a great way to meet people too. If you're going out there and you have questions, you can join that. And people that have been property owners for years can probably guide you to all kinds of things, Oh, who's best to drill a well, or who's best to do the foundation for my house? That'd be a great way to get that information from people that have done it.
Absolutely. No, you have a great point there. What else can I say about this area? Some people, it's kind of interesting what I've seen some people do. I've seen some people that own property in the Sangre de Cristo Ranches, and they build a place and they Airbnb it out. So that's a fun way to utilize a lot of this stuff. Certainly, some properties do have electricity running by them, but that's more the exception than the rule. So, if you can grab a place with electricity, wonderful. But that's probably not going to be the case for most folks, that get property in this area. Other interesting thing is that the fire that devastated the north part of Forbes Park actually started in the Sangre de Cristo Ranches. But it was a very small part of that got burned. The fire moved quickly east. I'll show the map again here.
I didn't realize that's the fire started there. I mean, obviously I knew Forbes Park had the fire. I didn't realize it started here.
Yeah, I'm going to reclaim the host.
And then while you're pulling it up, I forgot one other thing to mention, because we keep talking about how it get lost. It's out there in the middle of it. But Alamosa is only 30 minutes away, and it's got a super Walmart, a Home Depot, hospitals, restaurants. It even has a junior college. So you're not as far out as you might think you are. It feels like you've got nothing around, but then within 30 miles, you're in a pretty decent sized town. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
There's a regional airport here too. I've actually flown into and rented a car from.
Oh, really?
So there's they charge an arm and a leg for the rental car, but it is there. Yeah. It is there. The fires.
That state university, golf courses.
Yeah. The fire. So you can see here's Forbes Park up here where there's a bunch of roads. If I change the view to the satellite, let's see if we can tell. The fire started like somewhere over here and then moved east. So most of the Sangre de Cristo Ranches all down here didn't get burned. It was only this small little chunk here because the fire just decimated this whole area, then kind of moved north, but it never really went all the way around here and moved south. It got, I think, about over here. So kind of interesting. So you have to be careful in some cases just in knowing whether a property is burnt or not. But in most cases in the Sangre de Cristo Ranches, they are not burnt. one other tidbit I thought I'd share.
Yeah.
Anything else you got, Kristy? Anything else you want to go over about the area or the properties or fun
But
facts?
one other, people will ask this a lot. They ask about horses, cows, chickens. Most of them aren't allowed, but here, if you get permission from the ranches, you can actually have them, even though it's zoned residential. So I thought that was interesting too, because I know in some of the like Rio Grande ranches and the other, you cannot have horses and cows. So I know that might be a big thing for some people too, if they want to. You can bring your horses and trail ride, but you can't keep them, you know. But here you can actually keep them if you get permission. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's about all I got, Kristy. Shall we wrap it up for the day?
Sure.
All right, my friends. Well, that wraps up the episode. Make sure to tune in. We usually go live on Mondays around this time, 11:30 a.m. Central. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but do tune in on a regular basis. If you have questions about land or these properties, send them over to Kristy. Kristy, where can they contact you?
So if you want to call or text me, it's 971-248-6715. And of course, you can always email me, and that's sales@genfamland.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kristy. And thank you, my friends, for tuning into Land Stories with me, your host, Dave Denniston. And make sure to check out all of our properties at www.genfamproperties.com. And if you are looking for land, give Kristy a call. Kristy, what's that phone number one more time?
971-248-6715.
Bam. There you go. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.